it'll go live. There we go. Okay. It wasn't showing up red. So welcome to our 12th TogetherTec board meeting, otherwise affectionately called Fix Our World Fridays. Carrie thought I started a new fire. No, this is one of the first ones that I started. So today we don't have much on the agenda, but the same thing we were talking about in process raising, which is this collective, open collective. And it's a quick couple-minute video, so we can watch that if we want. And then what you guys discussed before I was coming in is the only other thing on the agenda, which was Carrie wanted access to the knack tool. And so maybe if you just want to update people as to why that is or isn't working and what that looks like, and then we can watch this open collective video and discuss maybe how we can use it in TogetherTec or our individual projects. I mean, it doesn't go into the nitty-gritty, but it's a good video to show what they're trying to do. So the first part is you guys with the knack, the thing you guys just discussed before we went live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So what we were talking about prior was we had the knack tool set up as sort of a like a project list so that people could sign up for accounts and manage their own projects, so that we could have a public-facing list to show here's all the projects that we're doing and to start actually fulfilling some of the things that we've been talking about. But that was designed around the idea of people actually sort of signing up and then managing their own projects. And a couple of people had signed up. I think two or three people had like sort of added their projects, so there are a few on there. But for the most part, it didn't gain a lot of traction. And it sounds like what Carrie wants to do is to sort of have her actually manage a lot of the lists and go and do the interviews, so that she can figure out who's on what. To sort of have one person owning that, and the knack tool wasn't really designed for that. So it's theoretically possible if we really wanted to do it that we could do that, but at that point it's a full redesign. So if she's already going ahead with the CRM, then I think it makes more sense for her to just go straight to this CRM route. And then if there's any issues, then we can revisit the knack tool. But for now, I think it makes more sense to just skip knack. And then when the CRM is available, we can do an export and grab the data that's in that tool to push it over. And I'm sure that she probably has her own spreadsheets somewhere of the projects as she's been doing interviews with people in the GameView projects group. So that's where things are at. I don't know if Carrie wants to chime in with some of the update on the CRM stuff.
Yeah, well, as I said, I've just about to install Drupal, and then I'll install the CRMs. And basically, it was just to get a kind of directory going. And as I said, because I wanted to see where you were with the knack stuff, and maybe to like update all that. But obviously, if that's the way it's been built, I think probably I'll just wait. And if there's, I know with Drupal you can have a media wiki, but the security is there's a security advice notice on it from Drupal saying some of it might not be so secure, but I don't know whether that's something that could be just tweaked with the module. But there's a module there that you can actually attach to it that has its own wiki, which would be quite good. But yeah, I think getting a directory of everyone who's in the project group and what they're up to, because it's not really easy to see unless anybody, they've introduced themselves. And, if someone coming along, and I know a lot of people have joined, and they said they're looking to collaborate on projects. So it'd be good for them to see who's doing what, where they are, and what they're looking for. And I'll do that. And but as I said, some have got their own projects and are looking for collaborators. So I think if we have something that kind of just people can go to at a glance and then see what's what, and then plus a list of sort of like maybe possible projects that are brewing, ideas and stuff as well, that'd be really good as well. So I think that's all I've got to say on that. But hopefully have a sort of like a build done by the end of next week. And then that way you can come and have a play in it. Because as I said, you can just add modules as you go. And rather than what I did last time, was just sort of like piled it high with modules that I didn't even probably use. You know what I mean? So I think that's about it, really.
All right. So like I said, I'm just going to put the agenda in the, I believe you guys can edit. in the private chat, so you can, although there's literally nothing on it, but in case someone wants to add something to it, there it is. The other thing was just, this is something we're talking about using for process raising and solution raising and possibly Carrie's ones. It looks like it's a cool project. This is all I've done is looked at it, so I haven't looked at the website yet, but the video itself seemed cool, so we can talk about that after we watch it. It's a couple minutes.
Should we be hearing something?
You should be. You're not? Okay, give me one second.
Do we know if StreamYard can share audio when you're sharing?
It can. Yeah.
Okay.
Stop screaming, share screen. I think I just need to. I had it all ready to go, so we wouldn't have to do this, but share audio. There's a little clicking button you have to hit in order to share it, and then share, and we'll go right here. All right.
Happened, making it easy for people to collaborate between and outside triangles as open communities working for a common goal. Call them circles, collectives of people working together on software, community projects, activism, just about anything you can think of. This circle is a collective called Spherio. They build open source software. Like many circles, they're open and flexible. Spherio has contributors and users around the world, and it isn't owned by anyone. It's hard being a circle in a world designed for triangles. Spherio sometimes needs things like a bank account and a way to pay taxes, but they don't want to stop being a circle. The Pyramid Company loves Spherio's open source software. It's critical to their business, and they want to support it. But in our world, triangles can only give money to other triangles because they need things like invoices. Open Collective is a home for circles in a triangular world. We provide the tools circles need to thrive. We make it easy for circles to fundraise, accept sponsorship, and pay expenses without needing to become a triangle. Everything on Open Collective is fully transparent, giving circles and their supporters access to financial info whenever they need it. We take care of taxes, admin, reporting, accounting, so Spherio can focus on their code and their community. Now, circles and triangles can live happily ever after, and together we can start smoothing out the corners of this triangular world.
Cool. That sounds
Like I
interesting.
said, it wasn't. I didn't get so into it, but it did seem like a perfect. I really hope the tools are because I think it's a blockchain thing. Like I think they're even if it's not blockchain right now, they're looking to make it so. No, no, because like I want them to work together, like Commons when it comes out to be able to have something that I can sign on and be part of all of these things. And I want to, and as a circle, as someone who is starting many a circle, I want to be able to create something like this to be able to bring people on board. But maybe this does do what Commons does as well, or Common, whatever the other one is that was supposed to come out in June and has not yet quite come out.
Right. Well, there's on Open Co-op info on YouTube. They've got a full video of them talking about it and actually going in and showing you how it works, because you don't really get that from the website when you go onto it. So, but I took a bit of a deep dive into it, and basically, you don't even have to have a bank account. You can just what you need is a fiscal host, someone who's a legal entity, i.e. business, doesn't matter what business they are, the legal entity, and they've got, you need an admin person, and you need a Stripe account, and you need a PayPal account. So those are the main things that you need for it. But what I liked about it most of all is that you didn't have to turn yourself into a business, and you didn't have to go through all that. So there's 3 ways. So if you've got no bank account whatsoever, you have people on there who are fiscal hosts who'll do that for you. If you have got a bank account, they'll be able to. There's plans that they've got. You can have 2 to 5 projects. I think it's $25 a month plus 5% handling fees for Stripe and stuff like that as well. So I think it's really brilliant because, as I said, if you want to try and do something and you want to work, or like we said, provide code for the company, but you don't want to turn yourself into an entity, it's really good, and everything's transparent. So You can see what's going in. You set if you've got donations, memberships, whatever you want, you can actually set that yourself, you know. The only thing is, because I know they've got fiscal hosts on there, but my thing is with a fiscal host, I'd rather have somebody who there's a relationship and there's some trust there rather than just going to a fiscal host, because they think they charge you extra on top of that. And as I said, if you've got no relationship with them, they might not want to have you on there. So I was going to ask my friends if he'd be interested in being a fiscal host till we got started, and I think maybe take the 2 to 5 package on, and then see, you know, if he would do that, because then I know if the relationship's in, then maybe we can take it over and then have as many projects as you like and start collectives under that, you know, as time goes on. But I think it's amazing, because as I said, it's just the thought of having to go down the business route or turn yourself into a charity or a social enterprise or whatever. You shouldn't have to turn yourself into anything. You know what I mean? If you want to do stuff, you should just be able to do it. But that's yeah, I love it, and I can't wait for my mate to say yay.
Yeah, like I said, I just watched that video and got excited for the fact that we don't have to do that, because as someone who wants to start fires, and I don't even want to start my own YouTube channel for the new fires, like, it's like, okay, well, let's see if it goes anywhere before that happens. The idea of incorporating something, and then anytime you want to crowdfund, you have to, of course, you need to have your own bank account and your own incorporation to be able to accept money. And I do wonder how Open Collective works with crowdfunding. Like, if you had a Kickstarter account or something and it could go into your Open Collective, or, you know, like your fiscal sponsor, and then that's more of, I'll look into it. So I need to answer that. But I would love if you were able to send Carrie the other video that you watched. I thought this was the one that you were talking about, but if you, I know the one, we won't watch it now, but if I would love to watch it, and we can add it to the chat so other people can see what it is as well, if you're able to find it.
I'm curious, how international is it? I mean, accounting, okay, but under which jurisdiction exactly? Because if I want to get money from, say, US, the way I used to do it was I got paid in crypto, and I had my own business, which is like a UK term, self-employed. I got my company's name, but I was essentially on my own, just visible to the system as a company, something like this. So I paid my taxes and social insurance, but on like in Polish institutions. And if they offer accounting, my question is it US thing, or is it like accounting in general, and then something else needs to happen before you can get money if you happen to be not from US? So I'm not sure how it works.
Well, on the video that I'm going to put in the links and that, on the video, like they said, there's people in Belgium. They're all over the place. You know, probably the best thing to do is get a fiscal host who's based in your country. And I know there's loads of fiscal hosts, I think. But as I said, it doesn't. I think the main one is set in the US, but I know there's the Social Change Agency that do it in the UK. And I know from the Open Cop Info, the guy who's on it talking about it and showing it was saying that they're in Belgium. So there'll probably be someone who could act as a fiscal host in Poland. Or even if you knew somebody who's got a business in Poland who'd be willing to do that for you, and then you could maybe set it up that way. But yeah, it's pretty international, but I'll just hang on and I'll get that link for you so you can go watch it for later.
I mean, I'm all set. It's just I actually spent time on wondering and making sure I am legal. Yeah, but that's me. But if someone else wanted to do the same, and without actually going to the institutions and registering as whatever, I mean, would it be possible to just apply or register with Open Collective and never have to worry about anything, or is it more to it? It's an open question. I will check for myself later.
It does seem like a fairly important, because that's, I mean, part of the attraction to me is that you do have members all over the world. You don't necessarily need to worry that someone's from Australia and they're paying you and doing that. But the company itself needs to be in one jurisdiction, and that looks like that's part of what Open Collective does, is remove that. But how could they? Like, they can't. You have to be doing taxes and accounting in a jurisdiction.
Exactly. The problem is that each and every financial jurisdiction in the world wishes to keep the businesses to themselves. So if it was always the problem when I worked virtually in US or in UK, but physically being present, not there, just in Poland. Of course, I didn't have any choice about it. I needed to pay taxes in Poland because this is where I'm physically at the moment. So, yeah, that is a problem, and I'm really curious how they solved it, if they did solve it, indeed. Yeah.
Have you got the link for them, Matush? Because I was reading through all the documentation about that. I can send you the link if you want.
I think I have it. So I have the page open somewhere amongst the 100 tabs I have.
But I think
because
you're running your own stuff, I think the only the taxes I think they pay would be regards to any money, right? I think the Open Collective, because the fiscal host charges you, so they charge you for the plan. So I think what they do is take care of the taxes of the money they get from you. But as a self-autonomous collective, I think any taxes that, like, because I know in the UK, if you're an individual and you want to do something like a side hustle and that, I think you're allowed to earn up to £1,000 before you're considered for any tax. But as part of that collective, you'd be responsible for that in your country. But I think, as I said, I think when they say taxes, they take care of the taxes. They might have a person who would do all that for you, but then they charge you the price. But if you're taking care of it yourself, I think, as I said, I think the taxes they take care of, it's just the money they get off you, and obviously the fees and stuff, and maybe the interest that gets paid towards them. I think they take care of that side of things, but you have to take care of the other stuff yourself, which is all right. You know what I mean? But if you're not earning that much, and if you freelance, because I think you can do it as an individual as well. So if you freelance, as I said, you'd be taking care of your own things anyway. But as I said, I've got a friend who does bookkeeping, accountancy and stuff. So I've spoke to her about it. So that's why I was wanting my mate to do it for us, because then there's the three of us then who can do things, and then hopefully do bookkeeping and admin for other collectives as well. You know what I mean, and keep them straight. But yeah, so I think when they talk about the taxes, is that the taxes that they pay on what you pay them. You know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about any of that, as I said. But as I said, it's up to you to run a collective as you see fit. But obviously, all the laws in each different country apply differently, so you'd have to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah. So that's
I was just imagining like the taxman coming to my door and asking, "Okay, so you live here, and the money you have, where do you get it?" I'd say Open Collective. Go check with them. That would be so funny.
You could always say, "My name's Dave. I don't know who Matush is."
Yeah. Here's the link.
I'm his twin brother. He's not home yet. Dave not here.
So I linked the thing you sent in under the Facebook post so that anyone can find it if they go to Game B Projects. And we can follow it from here. It is an hour and a half, so we definitely won't be watching it during this. I do wonder, hopefully this is a successful on enterprise. Hopefully it stays in existence because it does seem like a cool thing. It worries me a little bit that they have like an open collective. They have 98 subscribers, but they do have 6,000 views on that video. And the other one was that's on the brief one. So that a lot of people went to and then I can't find the other one now. Oh yeah, only 124 views and 227 subscribers on the other.
When you say subscribers, you mean on their YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't find that too worrying. I've worked for moderately sized companies that didn't have a big YouTube following because that wasn't their thing.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That's just the open co-op, though. That's not the open collective itself. That's just them talking about it. So the open collective is quite large. Because if you go to the site and see all the people, all the groups, what they've got going on, there's hundreds of them.
That's good, because that's what they need. More than they need YouTube followers, they need people who are using it and paying their $25 a month, and when they have transactions collecting their 5%, which is decent. I'm gonna go check it out. I'm sure it'll start some new fires. Well, now that this exists, I can start all the things for solution.
What have you done, Carrie?
All right. Lots of fun. All right. Well, I don't know what we're talking about for the rest of the hour. We don't necessarily need to stay on and make time up if we're done with, but is there anything we need to discuss for TogetherTec? Is there anything anyone needs help with for their own project versus, of course, the bigger project of like how we can omni-win all of our projects, but if any of them are kind of pertinent to preferably to TogetherTec, but even if it's WikiLection.
I was just wanting to ask, right, is TogetherTec going to be getting their own domain name?
They do. We have our own. We have TogetherTec.something.org.io. I own it.
Before.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was going to ask you something else, but I've forgotten now.
I mean, if we're doing anything with it, that's a whole other question. But
right. Okay.
There's something up there. I had made a Wix website, and then this lovely woman off of Craigslist, made it into a non-Wix website for free, but it's still basically the same information that was there 2 years ago. I put it in there.
If you could send me that and have a look, because as I said, because of the hosting account I've got, I can host as many websites as I like. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think. There was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what I was going to say. Right, so I'll shut up now. Oh, Matoush, right, how are you getting on? You decided, how are you getting on with everything then?
Yeah, I had it's all good. I had a moment of doubt yesterday when I looked at the structure you started to create in my project, and I realized how much is missing in terms of the user interface. It's not that the functionality is not there. It's just I might not have thought deeply enough about how to make it look when there is actually data in it. So
because the thing is, right, like as I said, you've got it all in your head, so you know everything, okay? So when you get someone like me coming along and going, ooh, what's this? What's that? You know what I mean? So I already deleted this navigation system by accident.
No, it was a problem with the code, which I think I fixed, but it was not a problem, of course. So I was, for the past 24 hours, I was thinking how to make it look a bit better. And I think I have some ideas. So I'll be working on it tonight and for the next next few days, I think. But in the meantime, I improved the accounts, as in what you see, and you are now able to edit details about yourself, basically, so it doesn't look like there's nothing in the note in the window. So that looks better. And I'm about to improve connections between nodes, so it doesn't look like a spaghetti thing, which is very undercooked spaghetti, which is straight lines and not very nice. So yeah, I'll improve that, and yes. I still don't know when is the right moment to share it more publicly instead of just talking individually to people.
Well, I've got a few more ideas about that, but as I said, I'll have a chat with you. And Adriel, how are you getting on with Wiki Lections?
Good. Been working with Matoush. We got the GitHub created, got the hosting. I've got it actually up at app.wikilection.com right now. It's still like the early, pre-alpha framework, but we'll be adding on features to get it to where it needs to be. So it's going good.
Okay, that's great. So we can go and look then.
If you want, yeah. I mean, there's not much to look at yet. It's very kind of early days framework, but that was sort of like as I said, just the framework to sort of bolt stuff onto. So we got it to where like the very first sort of draft specs were. It's not useful yet, but that's because my initial specs weren't useful. Like it wasn't meant to be there yet. But yeah, you can go there and view it, and technically you can create an account and that type of thing.
Okay.
Well,
one of the other things I've just remembered what. You know that blockchain, holochain, and cryptocurrencies. I know Matoush said you wanted to set up a kind of meeting on that and maybe have a chat and that, because I don't have a clue about any of it. So I'm just taking a deep dive into everything just now. So everything to look at, I'm like, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna have to go look. So that's gonna take me a wee while to get my head around all that.
I suggested a meeting because in the past few days, I'm not sure why, but I noticed in a few different places that people were thinking about the blockchain and how useful it is for everything. And in the past, I had a few discussions precisely about that. So the meeting would be more about an overview what it is and why it is not a silver bullet for everything that is wrong. Because what I also noticed, especially in the crypto community, is, and especially initially 2-3 years ago when the boom started, the crypto was going to solve everything. And it was like, this is precisely what we need, what was missing from the world, and now it is here. And now when we start using it, we will be able to fix everything, like kill all the corrupt banking system, remove the politicians, like the law is going to be coded in crypto. There was something like that as well. And blockchain is a wonderful and amazing technology, for sure. It's just, it's not quite going to solve everything like in one go. So for what we do right now, to be honest, we don't need blockchain as much as some people might think. So in theory, everything that you can do on the blockchain, you can do in other technologies. It's just for some users, blockchain is the right tool to use. Yeah, that's the basic description. And holochain is not quite a blockchain. So use of holochain is slightly different. And for that, I'd prefer someone who knows holochain better than I to speak about it. But yeah, holochain is even more amazing technology than the blockchain is, and it's going to, as far as I understand, it's going to have more users, and it's better in terms of well, one of the things is it does not burn as much coal as Bitcoin, for example. So it's quite famous how Bitcoin and other pure blockchain technologies, they use energy like crazy, right? So it's not very good in that respect.
Sorry, is that a nature of blockchain, or is that a nature of trying to mine for the unique IDs that you need for stuff like Bitcoin?
The point is you need all nodes in the network to agree on the next node to be added. That's the
so it's just the crazy amount of traffic to keep everything in sync.
Not even traffic. It's the crazy amount of computations done separately on each node in the network, something like this. So that's why it's not very energy efficient. Yeah, I think that's the very short story about it. I know there is work done on making it more energy efficient. There is like plenty when you read about, I know, Ethereum or other projects. They do wonderful work to make it faster, make it more efficient, make it more robust, I think. But yeah, my point was blockchain has specific uses, and right now in Game B, in general, the use for it is it's not like foundation for everything. Yeah,
I've just remembered what I was going to say before. So, you know that the project about sort of like the different types of economies, like capitalism, socialism, and all of that. Would Wikilections be a place, when you were saying how to find the correct information? So when I'm researching information into all these things about what's true and what's false, I was just wondering whether Wikilections would be able to use that in terms of knowing how to get all that information once I've found it.
That's one of sort of the later stage goals, is to have a lot of information about like just the systems of government, sort of the theoretical ones, and then the actual, like how countries operate individually, what the actual rules are in place, mostly the real world applications. Because, if you talk about socialism, well, that means a million different things, right? Like, are we talking about Sweden? Are we talking about Maoist China? Like, what do we mean when we say socialism? And technically they're all correct, but they're also all wrong. So the goal is mainly just to provide information to sort of help people decide how to vote. And a part of that is, if you're voting for president or you're voting for mayor, okay, but what does that person do? What are their rights and their responsibilities and all that, so that you know what you're actually voting for. And then, like, okay, if they have these responsibilities, here's what sort of skill set that person should probably have. Whoever's in that role should, know about these sort of things, because they're going to have these responsibilities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because as I said, I was just thinking of sort of like ways of, as I said, there's loads of information out there, and half the time you don't know whether it's true or not. And
right.
Digging through the research, because my aim was to get all the research done into all them areas, then with James and Matouche sort of like develop that into kind of like mapping, all the
right.
different areas of the world and that. But from that, I had, as I said, Rhys Lindmark wrote that marriage counselling with humanity and post-capitalism, which I thought was brilliant. Well, I've spoke to Rhys and I asked him would he be interested in getting, because once all that information was there, what I would like to do was have like that marriage counselling, but a bit like trauma counselling with humanity and capital communism. and stuff like that, but do it with actors. I'd like to do it with actors and maybe sort of like do that, sort of like a, you know, an audio play kind of sort of thing with the dialogue and that, you know, sort of like humanity and communism at the trauma counselor. You know what I mean? To do it like that, because I know Reese told me that Alex Kennedy may be interested in doing a film animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that kind of like transmedia storytelling, because I think
that sounds interesting.
Because I think people have got, right, because you've got people who watch and you've got people who listen, right? And sometimes, you know, a lot of people my age, you like to listen to things as they're doing things on the computer. And I was looking at that Gen Z post in the main Game B forum and all that sort of like, you know, the Gen Z is going, oh, I prefer to watch videos to take in information and that. So in terms of sort of like getting the right information, it's got to be engaging for them to watch. So, because as I said, a lot of people have got this view of socialism. So, you know, it's wonderful and that, and the same with communism. And I thought, well, if we do this sort of like trauma counselling at the, you know, humanity, there's, you know, communism and that. And I know there's lots of good bits in each of the economic systems. There's probably good stuff in each and every one of them, but it's the horrors that get caused that people don't seem to know about. And as I said, if they're not interested in history, they don't know. But you just need to be aware of what, you know, got caused. So I think if you do that in a kind of engaging conversation, where, you know, someone's playing the part of a trauma counsellor and stuff, you know what I mean? I just that's what sparked that off. Anyway, I spoke to Reese, who wrote it, and he said to keep me posted. And Jason Stone, who said he'd like to be involved as well. So I'm just looking for, once I've got a place where I can start gathering the research, and then everybody can chip in as and when they've got time, because I know everybody's doing their own projects and they haven't got a lot of time to go mooching about for things, so which I'm quite happy to do. But as I said, once we've got a place, but that's the kind of transmedia storytelling. And I know one of the things that we had was about science fiction as well. So, and if there's any other things that you'd like me to sort of like be on the lookout, because I love mooching on the internet and finding things, and things pop up when I start looking, you know what I mean? So and do all sorts of bits and pieces out of that as well. So at least there'll be a place that stuff can be put, people can add to it. But as I said, I'd want the right information, not what sort of like someone, you know what I mean? Because I heard someone say about I'd found that, you know, about, there was a thing mentioned about Africans selling other Africans and that. And I found this article that said, you know, in whatever century it was, the African chiefs sent a delegation to Paris and London because they were upset about the abandoning of slavery or the banning of it. So they sent a delegation to complain, you know what I mean? Because obviously that cut off the money supply. But I heard someone say, oh, that's preposterous and that. And I thought, well, there's a load of information nobody knows about history that's out there floating about. And it'd be nice to know the true stuff, even if it doesn't, you know, even if it upsets quite a lot of people. I'd rather know what's true and right rather than sort of like, you know, someone else's spin on it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, and that's,
I would absolutely like to do a solution raising on each of like the specific to information, right? So economics, not solving economics, but understanding economics. History is a big one where we don't have a full picture of it. How do you decide what's right? How do you decide what's wrong? How do you visualize it? Because it's like, is the information true? But then even if you make an amazing video, if one thing's off, then it kind of, you know, like it's hard to go back and fix it. I love the idea of the trauma counseling with humanity, but if you're going to do it with communism, you also need to do it with capitalism. Because the big thing is it's like everyone's like, oh, there's these hundreds of millions of deaths by capitalism or by communism, which is absolutely true. And yet nearly every death on this planet is attributed to capitalism. People starving to death, people who have either not enough to eat or way too much to eat. A lot of it is designed, like, it's like, okay, so like almost like communism's your ex that you're trying to go through, and like capitalism's your current abusive partner that's like, how does, but that's just what's
when Carrie was first talking about it, I was kind of picturing like a skit that was almost like a couples counseling where one person is, you know, socialism or communism and one person is capitalism, and they're going back and forth with, well, you did this and you did that, and then the person trying to figure out what I think that could be, you know, Probably a good combination of entertaining and educational.
I'd like to do them all, like every ism underneath the sun. I'd actually, collectivism, this ism, because we've just been turned into memes and isms, and that's all we are now. So at least be truthful memes and isms. That's what truthful isms. The truth about all these. As I said, everything gets turned into an ism, and as I said, individualism is getting frowned upon. Collectivism, this and that. You know what I mean? Everything. As I said, there's good bits in all of it, but as I said, you don't get to know the truth, and there's nobody out there to kind of tell you that.
Well, the problem with this is exactly the same problem as with any other big subject. Once upon a time, I used to discuss like religious stuff with, especially about Catholic Church, because that's the most popular one in Poland. With like 90% assumed to be Catholics, and it's like we all know what problem with Catholic Church is, right? More or less. But to talk about it exclusively in terms of how bad it is, it's kind of missing the point. The subject is way too big to be categorized only on one side of the equation. And there are good bits and bad bits and pieces about this. And to talk about all of them, I don't think it's even possible, because there is always going to be like counter argument. And okay, this was good, this was bad, and it can continue. And I'm not sure if it's totally productive use of time. And it's similar. Communism. Well, I've seen it in action, so I am totally biased against, and I understand it as an idea that is very good as an idea, but once it's put into production, it ends badly, and it's inevitable. It's just there's no single example of it going right, I'm afraid. So.
It's just having the full picture. Just be able to have the full picture of everything. You know what I mean? And then make up your mind what side you want to join. But it's just some way to have the full picture of everything,
But what I'm afraid of is the big picture is too big for anyone's head. It's what Daniel Schmachtenberger says, that right now those subjects are too big for any single individual to be able to keep in one mind. It's just too big. So it's necessary for us to see what we can see from any system, and that's what people do. They prefer to see the bright side or the bad side and then stick to it. And then it's just easier. And it's not even, it's not even that it's easier, it's the only way possible sometimes. What I am doing is I tried to always remember to argue about specific points. And I always add a disclaimer that, and I do argue against communism and against capitalism and against any other system there is, because each of them has bad points, and I prefer to argue about bad points. But I always add a disclaimer that, yes, I point out specific problems, but it's not that I think that the system is totally wrong 100%, and there's nothing to be learned from it, or there is nothing good about it, right? Yeah.
I think we're just getting fairly close to the end of the hour, and I just wanted to find out from Carrie, with like the TogetherTec, specifically the Game Beef Facebook group, Game Beef projects, which is TogetherTec at the moment. You're kind of managing people coming in, right? We're not accepting them because you're doing the entry, and I don't want to like accept someone and then have you not be able to see their answers. Is there anything that you need help with in that? How is that going? And would it help you to have a calendar set up or something where you could put in your schedule and people could just schedule a session?
A calendar would be good. What I was going to say, like as I said, Facebook shows you the answers, but it doesn't keep them. So I only figured that out, and I was just like, oh. And then I've started keeping a spreadsheet of the answers and stuff. But as I said, there's a lot of people who are not answering the questions. Like sometimes, you may not have time, you come back, so I just leave it for quite a few days and see. But it's just trying to get some a bit more engagement, and I've wrote to a few people asking them, would you introduce yourself and that, and I don't seem to get no answers. So I don't understand why you're joining a group if you don't want to take any part in it. You know what I mean? Like, and I know there's loads of people lurking, and I know people maybe not feel right enough about jumping in, or the topics that are getting posted, they're not. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get people more engaged in either telling us what they're doing or, being more interested. Because I know quite a few people are wanting to join projects. But as I said, it's just trying to find the right balance of trying to get them to sort of like say, well, look, this is the project that I'm on just now, and this is what. So I don't know whether it's just a case of it's Facebook or they're not at a stage they're ready to post the project yet. But it'd just be nice to get some sort of conversations going about different things. But because, as I said, I haven't spoken to a lot of people yet, so I don't know what their interest is. And I know they post it because, as I said, some people just post at the intro and then you never get to hear from them again. So I don't know whether it's a time issue or so. I'm a bit struggling as if to, or whether they just think I'm a bit scary. I was like, oh no.
I mean, what you're doing is definitely a step up to what we were doing. So don't feel like it needs to be all of the, like, you don't need to have an interview with every single person if that's overwhelming for you. That's kind of what you, then there is going to be a difference in participation, but also some of the people might be bots, right? And if they're not responding to anything and they're not answering the questions and having at least a voice conversation is a good way to know that there's a human being somewhere in there, hopefully. But
it doesn't overwhelm me because I love doing this. I love talking to people and finding out what they're up to. Because then you see what's out there. As I said, half the battle is not knowing what's out there. And when you've got projects going on and you may be thinking of something, if you don't know what's out there already, you know what I mean? Because as I said, you might get started and somewhere down the line you think, oh my God, there's about 20 people doing that,
Yeah, no, there was just someone who came into the Facebook. He was like, we need Praxis. How about an open source Facebook? I'm like, yeah, you get on that. You know that one. That's your project. You're welcome. But what else do you do when you come in?
As in every other Facebook group, which is people join because the name appears on their suggestions. You may want to join this, so they click automatically and they don't bother with questions because they are not interested in the thing, but they clicked because that's what people do. They click. And the end result is out of every 100 people, 90 of them is going to be silent forever. And they are not going to leave because people never leave Facebook groups. I mean, normally. So it's like 1% is going to post something and be active participants. 10% is going to write from time to time and at least follow what's going on. And 90% is going to be silent forever. I mean, this is what I observe in basically every other group I'm in. So when you start, you have this totally different proportions. When you start, only people who are really interested join because they know it from the start that such a group exists, and they join and they do stuff and they talk. And right after, when you get above, 100 to 100 members, the proportions are changing. And then people join who are not interested, who do not know what they are joining really. But still, we can let them in because there is always a chance that one of the 100 is going to look into it more and have the sparkle. Yeah, this is what I really wanted, although I didn't know. And then they are going to be more active.
Okay, I just feel like, if you're going to get anything going, you've got to kind of make connections, then try and build a relationship, and from that trust comes, and then you can see along the way. And that's well, with anything really, even if you want to collaborate with someone, you've got to build a relationship there, But I just don't know. It's struggling about. Because I don't want to be dead pushy and go, oh, you must talk to me or else, you know what I mean? It's just like, so I'm a bit unsure. But I'll just carry on what I was doing, and I'll just try and find interesting things, which help.
There's a few people who've, when I've asked to talk to them, they've sent me their link for their calendar, right? But they're like, yeah, schedule time, and then it sets us both up. I don't use that because I can't, I don't have a specific amount of time that I can be available from 9 to 3. It's like, yes, I need 1 hour during that time because I don't have enough spoons. But if you know your schedule and you know when you're open, instead of you needing to reach out to everyone individually, in the welcome message, hey, please introduce yourself. If you're interested in setting up a one-on-one, here's my calendar, right? And then it puts the onus on them. And then as long as they're humans, I think and even honestly, there's probably bots already in there. As long as they do answer the questions, and if they don't answer the questions and they've been asked to answer the questions, yeah, they don't need to be in. You at least need to do the first part so we know that you are in a human being and you have something, you kind of know what this group is. I would be. And then the needing to talk to you is that's an amazing added benefit where they can find out what's going on and find out what project. And if they don't want to take you up on that, then that's on them. And
yeah, I think the CRM will kind of give a reason to talk to you, especially if you're somebody that has a project. They seem like kind of our top tier, the people that we really want to be active and should, in theory, want to participate more, to gain an audience and to participate in the conversations. And then you've got sort of the people who don't have a project but want to see what projects are out there and are actively looking. And then you'll have the lurkers that are just watching. But as we said, if 1 in 100 becomes either a project, somebody who contributes, or they start a project, then they can say, hey, Carrie, I just had an idea for a project. Now I want to meet with you. I think if you sort of intentionally separate it out, where it's optional-ish, you still have to answer the questions, so we're trying to deflect bots. But then it's, if you have a project, they should be actively hunting you down. They should be trying to talk to you to get put on that list, because then that's the list that, if you want to contribute, hey, great, go here. If you'd like, an actual one-on-one conversation, cool, I'm open to that as well.
Yeah, because I think matching. I'd like to get to the stage where I'm matching people who are looking with people who've got, you know what I mean. And as for spoons, I've got a drawer full of spoons. Jubilee, an ex-partner, used to play spoons, and he used to play them on people's heads and that. So that's his legacy. A drawer full of spoons. I've hardly got any knives and forks, but I've got loads of spoons.
That you do. It's hilarious because I'm worried about your spoons. I'm like, how do I keep Carrie from using? But you're in charge of that. And if you don't have a spoon disability, no one else needs to worry about it. It's not. But you're burning the candle at both ends and you're taking too much on. But that's me. That's yeah. I don't need to do that for you. You do have an abundance of spoons. All right. Is there anything else we would like to talk about on the agenda, that should be fit in here before we say goodbye to YouTube and Facebook?
I can't think of anything at the moment, but yeah, if people want to just get in touch with me, I'm open for that. So if you don't, just message me and let me know. But yeah, that'd be. I think that's all of us to say just now.
Perfect. I'll just end it then saying that tomorrow morning we have our roundtable taking place at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do that every Saturday morning, even though it's the 4th of July, because none of us are American. So the American ones can choose to come in or not come in. That is the beauty of having a world global community is that we can I still had my solution raising on Canada Day. It was amazing. I don't practice Canada Day. All right. Goodbye, YouTube and Facebook. We will see you tomorrow morning.